I'll do it because it's impossible for a high school graduate loser,
said Henry, my boss, who boasts about being a Harvard graduate, as he waved the documents for the $1 billion deal that I was supposed to handle. He looked down on me with a condescending gaze, waiting eagerly for me to become frustrated. That was supposed to be my job. Henry, I started to say.
Hey, if we leave such a huge task to a poor guy who can't even do his job properly, the company will go under, you know. It's not the kind of job for a high school graduate. Besides, it's impossible for someone like you who can only do menial tasks.
He interrupted, not even listening to my words. Without paying any attention to my protests, Henry quickly left. However,
I didn't sign up for this.
On the day of the negotiation, he came to me seeking help. My name is Aiden. I'm a hardworking and respectable professional, giving my best every day. The company I work for is a small to medium-sized enterprise, but it's a reasonably well-known food manufacturer in the local area. While the job may seem plain at first glance when you hear food manufacturer, it's actually a rewarding line of work when you experience it firsthand. Initially, as a high school graduate, I joined for the money. With such farts. However, the employees are all good people, and I find fulfillment in my work. Above all, I take pride in the fact that my work in the food industry can bring smiles to people's faces.
Aiden, are you working that hard again today?
You're so fast at your work.
Oh, thank you so much. I thought it would be a good stopping point for today.
Aiden works so hard every day, and I'm grateful for that.
He puts in extra effort. Don't push yourself too hard just because you're young. Taking care of your health is also part of the job.
Yes, thank you very much. I maintain a stance of following through when I have work to do and have been dedicated to it. It seems like the higher-ups appreciate my efforts, and I often receive praise. It's been a daily routine filled with a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment.
I wish others would learn from Aiden. Is he really a director?
Oh, that guy. He's supposed to be a Harvard graduate, but I've hardly seen him doing any work. Is he really a director?
I overheard a complaint from the side. The two were referring to Director Henry. Despite rarely seeing him diligently working, he somehow managed to become a director.
Was Aiden a high school graduate?
One of the employees asked me. I lowered my head slightly and answered, well, embarrassing as it is, it was my past that I couldn't proudly announce in a loud voice. Due to certain circumstances, I only have a high school education. However, the employees at this company don't laugh or make fun of me for it.
Nah, there's no need to be embarrassed.
Director keeps boasting about being a Harvard graduate, but he can't do the job as well as Aiden.
Just because you went to a prestigious university doesn't mean you can't find people who can't perform at work. It's frustrating.
The employees sigh in exasperation. Henry holds the position of director in this company. Within the company, he makes it a daily habit to flaunt his superior educational background to everyone. One could even say that Harvard graduate has become his catchphrase. He boasts about aiming to become the next executive or even the president, all while looking down on others.
What will happen to the company if Henry becomes the president?
Oh, if you start spreading such rumors. The employees stop talking as they hear loud footsteps approaching, and the door opens. It's directed by Henry. He purposely walks with loud footsteps, so everyone knows who's coming. While I continue working, thinking about such things, Director Henry comes up to me, laughing.
Aiden, the high school graduate.
He deliberately adds the word high school graduate when calling out to me. Since he's calling out loudly, it's clear that not only the two employees nearby, but everyone can hear it. Yes, Director Henry, what can I help you with?
You haven't finished this task yet. When will you be able to finish it? Aren't you slow at your work?
No, this task is scheduled for tomorrow. I've completed today's tasks, and I'm waiting for confirmation. As I calmly respond, Henry lets out a loud sigh.
Sis, if you finish today's work, you should report it, right? That's why high school graduates. Didn't you learn the basics of reporting, communication, and consultation? What were they teaching you at that bottom-tier high school you attended?
I'm sorry.
Well, whatever. Just take care of this.
Henry places a document on my desk. What's this?
It's obvious that you should have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for the meeting, right? Don't you even understand that much?
I checked the paper that Henry placed, but I only received one document. There aren't enough materials. Could you please tell me who the person in charge is so that I can ask them?
Obviously, it's me, right?
What? I don't have enough materials to create the PowerPoint for the meeting.
How am I supposed to know that? Researching is part of your job too. Don't you even know such basic things?
Sigh. This meeting is scheduled for a later date, right? Maybe until the day after tomorrow.
It's obviously due today. I'm busy, so make sure you finish it by today. High school graduate Aiden.
After saying that, Henry says, "Well then, good luck," and leaves through the door he came from. I sigh. Henry knows that I'm a high school graduate, and occasionally, he harasses me like this. Whenever he assigns me menial tasks, he's always in a bad mood. If I dare to speak up against it, he starts shouting and yelling loudly. It disrupts the work environment, so I've gotten used to quietly accepting the work on behalf of others.
I'll help you with the research.
But
Don't worry, I managed to finish my tasks with some spare time today.
I'm sorry, and thank you very much. One of the employees looked at the single document and then helped me with the work. Somehow, we managed to finish it by the very last minute before the company closed for the day. Henry repeatedly emphasized my high school education. I always felt frustrated because of it. However, there is a valid reason behind being a high school graduate. It was due to issues in my family environment. My family consists of my strong and kind mother, a stepfather who is not related by blood, and my younger sister. The father who shares my blood passed away when I was young. My mother doesn't like to talk about it much, but I learned as I grew older that he had been ill. Being a single mother, my mother had her limits in raising me, so she remarried my stepfather through a friend's introduction. However, as I was still young, I struggled to accept my new father, and we never really got along well. Naturally, we didn't resemble each other since we were not biologically related. The fact that my appearance was different from both my father and other people often made me the target of teasing at school.
About your dad, you know.
Shut up. A few years after my mother remarried, I had grown tired of talking about my new father with my friends. And what made it even worse was that I had limited opportunities to see my father. He seemed to be extremely busy with work, and he was rarely at home. Even though I saw my mother diligently doing household chores and preparing meals as if he came home every day, I tended to avoid him, so we rarely crossed paths. In that kind of situation, where the relationship between my father and me was still strained, my parents had another child. It was a precious baby girl. I had a little sister. However, despite the arrival of my sister, my father remained busy, and I ended up assisting my mother in taking care of my young sister.
This child's name is Lily. Aiden.
Lily, my mother gently told me her name. Even though she had just been born and couldn't understand words yet, I still remember Lily smiling at me. She grew up beautifully, just like everyone else around her. She was incredibly cute. While she treated me as her older brother, and we got along well, I felt somehow excluded within the circle of my father, mother, and sister. I couldn't fully integrate into the family, and that sense of alienation persisted within me. Mom, I'm going to work.
Your dad has prepared money for you to go to college. Don't worry, it'll be fine.
I don't want to go to college. I want to start working as soon as possible.
Are you sure about what you want?
While subtly suggesting that I consider going to college, my mother quietly gave me permission when I expressed my intention to enter the workforce. I graduated from high school without informing my father at all, and I left home and started working as if I were running away. It was quite challenging to find a place that would hire me as a high school graduate, but the company I am currently working for turned out to be the destined one that hired high school graduates. The president took a liking to me during the interview, and that became the opportunity.
Is high school your highest level of education?
Yes, but I will do my best. I will give it my all. So, please, give me a chance. I won't let you down.
Yeah, you've got determination. That's great. Come work with us.
Later, I heard that the president was impressed by my energy and determination, and that's why I was hired. I worked hard to repay the president's kindness, but one day, I happened to come across a conversation between the president and several employees in the break room. Feeling thirsty, I headed to the break room to get some coffee. The president and a few employees were gathered around the table with serious expressions as they looked at some documents. They seemed so engrossed in their conversation that I hesitated to approach them. But while I was hesitating, our eyes unexpectedly met. "Hi, how's the work progressing?"
Hey, Aiden, good job.
The financial report from the previous year. What were you discussing?
Oh, well, you see.
The president chuckled and brought out another chart that showed the current year's performance, which clearly indicated a declining trend. The company was slowly but surely in the red. Lately, our performance hasn't been great. I've been considering putting the company under someone else's management. The salaries might decrease, and I've been thinking about where I could refer our employees for new job opportunities, for the sake of those who don't want that. I wonder what we should do about the referral process. What?
It might be a good time to talk to everyone soon. We need to decide early, or else there might not be any places left for our employees to work. Aiden, think about it too.
After saying that, the president left the break room. The employees, groaning, returned to their respective tasks. I stood there frozen, forgetting to drink my coffee. I wanted to work harder and harder, but is this company really going to disappear? After finishing work and returning home, I couldn't help but ponder over things. The slightly lonely expression on the president's face kept replaying in my mind. He went through the trouble of hiring me. Is there anything I can do to help? At that moment, my phone vibrated on the bed. When I checked the screen, it was a message from my sister, Lily. "Hello." Lily and I frequently kept in touch even after I moved out. It seemed like she was always concerned about me, so she often called. I was grateful that I still had a connection with my family, and as a result, I started talking to Lily on the phone 2 or 3 times a week. "Is mom doing well?" And dad too.
They're both doing great. The other day, mom made a huge hamburger, and she was so excited about it. It was really delicious. You should come and have some next time, big brother.
Yeah, I should. Hearing about mom's cooking made me feel relieved. Regardless of everything, I had been worried about mom ever since I left home.
By the way, big brother, you're working at S Food, right?
Yeah, that's right, but
If I asked for a favor with work, would the president be able to help?
at the company where I work, I was surprised and asked Lily repeatedly to confirm. According to her, there's a company that's looking for a small food manufacturer as their business partner, but they're having trouble finding a good company to collaborate with. It seems like hearing that reminded her of me, her older brother.
It might be worth just hearing them out, you know.
Well, it's just for discussion. All right, I'll ask the president. The next day, I went to the president's office to discuss yesterday's conversation with my sister. Knock, knock.
Come in.
I heard the president's voice, so I opened the door, saying, "Excuse me." "Oh, Henry, the director, is here too." Henry was also in the president's office. I wondered if they were discussing the troubled company mentioned before. The president had a serious expression just a moment ago, with furrows on his forehead.
What's up, Aiden?
"Well, I have something to talk to you about, President. Are you available now?" The president gestured for me to sit in a chair next to Henry. I didn't like the fact that Henry was there, but since he didn't make any moves to leave the office, I proceeded with my conversation with the president. I relayed my sister's story from yesterday directly to the president, and I handed him the contact information and materials from the company that I had noted down. After finishing my explanation, it was Henry who spoke first. "If this deal goes through, we can expect a profit of 1 billion yen, which could be a chance for the company's revival. President, what do you think?" Henry spoke as if he had introduced the deal himself. However, the president was engrossed in reviewing the details of the deal, calmly considering it. After showing a momentary hesitation, he looked at me with a decisive expression.
Let's take a gamble on this. I want you to take the lead and give your all to make this deal happen, with the company's full support.
And then he shook my hand.
Aiden, thank you so much. I want to entrust this matter to you, the one who brought it to us. Will you take on the central role and give it your best?
Yes, please leave it to me. I shook the president's hand in return. Without delay, I left the president's office and started taking action. All right, I will definitely make it a success. I clenched my fist and filled myself with determination. As I returned to my department from the president's office, I immediately started organizing my tasks. However,
No. What's gotten into you?
The moment we stepped out of the president's office, Henry mockingly slapped my back. Ouch.
I'll be taking the lead in this presentation. After all, as a Harvard graduate, I can do a better job than a high school dropout like you. It's only natural to entrust it to me.
No, the president said that
You're such an idiot. The president did it out of consideration for you. It's just a formality that he said he would leave it to you since you brought it up. There's no way we would leave such a critical matter to a lowly high school dropout like you. I'll take care of it as the director since I can't trust you to handle it. Couldn't you see that coming? You're clueless. This is why people without education are so stupid.
Saying that, Henry took all the materials I had brought.
Make sure to summarize the content of the conversation with the other party. If you don't collect the necessary materials, the discussion won't progress. Well, it's been a while since I gave it my all. Haha.
From that day on, I was bossed around by Henry, collecting materials every day. I had to prepare meeting documents and research everything in advance. Initially, I thought it was my job, so the work itself wasn't difficult. However, everything I prepared was taken by Henry. But this was the chance that Lily had created for me. I can't waste time arguing with Henry. Instead of creating time for that, I want to work and rebuild the company. There were so many things I wanted to say to Henry. But if there's any time to discuss who was assigned the job with Henry right here and now, I would rather use that time to prepare for the meeting. I desperately worked hard to make the negotiation a success. A few days later, the day of the remote meeting with the other party, I hold the will-prepared materials and wait for the president.
Aiden, shall we go?
Yes. When the president arrives at the department and calls out to me, I respond with determination. However, I hear a voice calling out to stop the president.
President.
A calm voice echoes from the hallway. Henry, dressed impeccably in a more impressive suit than usual, is standing there. Without sparing a glance at me, he speaks to the president.
I will handle this remote meeting.
I let out a bewildered voice. We have come this far, and now he suddenly says he'll attend the meeting.
So, will Henry go?
The president asks, and Henry pats my back and laughs.
Well, think about it. Between someone so nervous like him and the experienced director like me who is accustomed to meetings, if it's a meeting that would determine the fate of the company, wouldn't it be natural for me to go?
But initially, I asked Aiden to handle this job. I think he should attend the meeting.
Attend the meeting? But I was the one who collected the materials and prepared the documents. Henry must have reported it as his own work to the president. I sigh. However, Henry takes advantage of that sigh and points it out, saying, "See,
if we bring someone who looks so exhausted to the meeting, it would be disrespectful to the other party. They might even get angry and wonder why we brought just an employee to such an important business negotiation. Is that all right? His burden is too heavy, so Director Me will go."
I see.
Henry emphasizes that he has a higher position than me. The president looks at his watch, then at Henry and me, pondering. Finally, the president turns to me and asks,
"What do you think, Aiden?"
With a serious look, I convey my thoughts to the president. I believe it's better for the business negotiations to go smoothly. Considering the hierarchical position, it's true that Director Henry may make a better impression at the meeting. Above all, I just wanted the business negotiations to be successful. Time was running out until the negotiations. Knowing how persistent Henry could be, I didn't want to engage in an argument here and end up being late for the meeting or have Henry suddenly interrupt during the meeting. It would be better to proceed safely and reliably.
All right, Henry, take the documents and make sure to go with enough time to spare.
Yes, understood, President. Leave it to me.
Henry eagerly takes the documents, adjusts his suit, and gets ready. While the president is concerned about me, he heads to a separate room for the remote meeting. Just before leaving, Henry whispers into my ear,
Lucky you didn't embarrass yourself. Just obediently serve under me, high school graduate.
Before I have a chance to respond, Henry hastily rushes into the same room as the president. Although I felt frustrated by Henry's words, my main concern was that the company would not go under. 10 minutes later, rushing footsteps.
Aiden, are you here?
While anxiously working on piled-up tasks, the president calls out my name in a fluster and comes running. The president, usually well-dressed in a suit, is sweating and searching for me. President, I'm here. What's wrong?
Aiden, we have a problem.
Huh.
The other party is French.
Well, the company is based in France.
They're speaking in French, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but neither Henry or I can speak French.
What? I hurriedly followed the president to the room where the remote meeting was taking place. As I enter the room, I hear broken English.
Yes.
The one speaking broken English was none other than Henry, who had been so confident heading into the meeting. His rather embarrassing appearance almost made me burst out laughing for a moment. However, on the computer screen, there was a concerned expression on the face of the business partner. I quickly stood beside Henry. In French, nice to meet you. I'm Aiden. I apologize for the delay. Upon hearing my fluent French, Aiden, who was standing next to me, widened his eyes in surprise. But I didn't have the luxury to worry about that.
Thank goodness. I'm relieved that there's someone who can communicate.
I sincerely apologize.
No, it's okay. Don't apologize. Spaniards are so serious. But finally, we can start. Nice to meet you.
The pleasure is mine.
Oh, by the way, that guy from earlier, not only IHI's French, but his English is also catastrophically bad. Oh, this is just between us.
I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Thanks to that, the tension was loosened just right. And once again, I explained the details for the contract while the president provided explanations alongside me. The other party seemed to have a very favorable impression after reading the materials I had prepared. We adjusted the date for an actual meeting, and today's session ended successfully. After turning off the remote control, as the computer screen switched off, both the president and I let out a sigh simultaneously. However, Henry was different.
Hey, are you kidding me, Aiden? I didn't hear about French.
It seemed like he thought I had been speaking French the whole time without his knowledge. But I calmly pointed to the documents in response. I included it in the documents. I even added notes. Besides, I directly informed Manager Henry. And I also informed the president in advance. However, you insisted on proceeding, so I naturally assumed Manager Henry would be able to handle it in French. Henry looks at the documents. It clearly states the important points, specifying the need for French communication due to the headquarters being in France.
What's going on? Wasn't it Henry who prepared the documents?
This time, the president confronts Henry. Unable to respond, Henry stumbles over his words.
First of all, I had doubts about why Henry was the one reporting when I had asked Aiden. But when I heard that Aiden had requested your assistance, I ended up trusting you.
No, President. It's just that.
Enough for today. I will inform you of Henry's consequences later. You can leave work now.
But
Henry hangs his head in dismay. With a pale face, he looks at the floor instead of at me. However, the president ignores Henry, indicating that the conversation is over, and turns towards me.
Aiden, I truly apologize. I should have verified it myself. It's thanks to you that this negotiation progressed. Thank you so much.
No, I've always wanted to repay the president who hired me.
Can I ask you to handle this project again?
Of course, I'll do my best.
Thank you. I'll rely on you until the completion of the transaction.
And so, I officially took charge of the big project. With Henry removed from the assignment, he truly became an outsider. Neglected by everyone, Henry found it increasingly difficult to stay at the company and eventually decided to resign on his own. I continued to make progress with the project smoothly and successfully secured a $1 billion deal. The company was able to avoid bankruptcy.
Well, Aiden, you're our savior.
Who knew you could speak French?
When the president and I returned to the company, all the employees gathered around me with excitement, celebrating and congratulating me. It was just a coincidence that I could speak French. The success of the project is thanks to all of you.
This guy, he says the right things.
With those words, I was playfully mobbed by everyone. I truly love these people. I wondered if I had been able to be of any help to them and to the company. I was filled with a sense of accomplishment. A few days later, after a successful day at work, I contacted Lily. I wanted to thank her as soon as possible. This led to a discussion about going out for a meal together, which we decided to do on our day off. So here I am, waiting eagerly with Lily's favorite sweets in hand. Oh, you're here.
Big brother.
Even before Lily calls out to me, I immediately recognize her presence. The reason is simple. Everyone around is paying great attention to Lily. Her fair, beautiful skin, clear blue eyes, and slender figure with long limbs. Her appearance, like that of a model, stands out wherever she goes, even in Spain. Lily, my younger sister, is half Spanish and half French. Yes, my mother remarried a French man. However, our new father wasn't very motivated to learn Spanish. As a result, most of our conversations at home were in French. Being young at the time, I was shocked by the loss of my biological father and bewildered by the sudden appearance of a French stepfather. I couldn't accept it right away. And perhaps out of defiance, I refused to speak French at home. As my mother and father became closer and talked, I found myself increasingly isolated. However, when my sister was born and I started taking care of her, I naturally began speaking both French and Spanish. In the end, thanks to hearing my mother and father speak French in close proximity and conversing in both languages with my sister, I became fluent in everyday vocabulary. It wasn't quite business level fluency, but I learned the languages as part of my everyday life. Lily, I really appreciate your help this time. Thanks to you, the company seems to have avoided collapse. As we entered the cute cafe Lily wanted to go to, I immediately expressed my gratitude to her. She smiles and sips her drink.
Oh, come on. The company succeeded because of you, big brother.
Then, Lily continues.
But it was actually from Dad, not me.
Huh.
Dad was really concerned about you. He often asked Mom about your company and worried about it.
Dad, our dad, whom we hardly ever talked to at home, worried about me. It was at that moment when Lily told me that I learned for the first time that our father runs a trading company in France. The company that referred me to the job this time turned out to be a business partner of our father's company. Even though we hardly ever talked about it in front of you, Mom, Dad, and I used to discuss it with you a lot. Dad was concerned, so I would occasionally share some of your concerns with him. Lily said, Dad, it's embarrassing that he knows all that. I replied, looking down. It was embarrassing to think that my worries were conveyed to Dad through Lily. But Lily held my hand and looked at me with serious eyes.
We're family. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Dad respected you for becoming a respectable professional, right, Dad?
Lily turned around. I was so surprised that I stood up. In front of me was my father, looking awkward. Dad?
Since your brother and I hardly ever talk, I brought him here. Dad, you have something to say to your son, right?
Nervously, my father hesitated to start the conversation. Lily urged him to take a seat and patted his back. Finally, my father spoke.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't in French, but broke in Spanish. My father, who had never made an effort to speak Spanish before, was using it now.
I should have studied Spanish more. I used to be too focused on work. No, but you were busy back then.
I knew it too. At that time, my father was busy working to support my newly remarried mother, so she wouldn't have to struggle. I'm sorry. I should be the one apologizing, Dad.
No, Aiden, you don't have to apologize. Aiden, I'm the one who should apologize.
Trying his best, my father spoke to me in Spanish. He only knew basic words, repeating "I'm sorry" multiple times. Dad, thank you for learning Spanish.
Oh, my Spanish is still bad. I'm sorry. Aiden, I've wanted to apologize for a long time. Because of work, I couldn't pay attention to you, who was still a child. I couldn't empathize with your feelings when you lost your father.
I was selfish back then too. Even though you did so much for Mom, I was just being selfish. Tears welled up in my eyes. In front of me, my father bowed his head. The father who I felt so estranged from and couldn't consider as my family had finally become a father to me. My vision blurred as tears streamed down my face. Lily gently stroked my back.
You know, big brother, since we're family, you can rely on us more.
Yeah.
Aiden, we're family.
And so, my father and I opened up about various things from the past and reconciled. The pent-up feelings I had for so long suddenly disappeared, and a natural smile appeared on my face. I will never forget this day. I realized that even if you speak the same language, if you don't express your feelings, even with your family, things can become awkward. If only the me from back then had honestly conveyed my feelings to my father, we could have had a different relationship. Even with someone who speaks the same language, misunderstandings can happen. If only I hadn't been so stubborn and had faced my father more openly. As I was thinking such things, my father suddenly said,
Aiden, Mom's hamburger is ridiculously huge. LOL. It's like a vast grassland. Epic.
Huh? Hey, Lily, why don't you teach him some more refined Spanish? I interjected.
Hey, isn't the current way better?
Lily replied. I had taken quite a detour, but I finally felt like I had become a part of the family.